Hello friends, this is in continuation with the last video where we have learned about planet significators, how a planets can become a significator of the cusp or the bhav and give the results to the native. So we learned about those things. Now today we will be learning about the cusp significators. What does it mean by the cusp significator is a cusp can have multiple planets who can signify the results of that particular cusp or particular bhav. So we need to identify those planets which can be a significator of that particular cusp. This will going to help us to identify the true significator or the strong significator for that particular bhav, and we can then assess the true event of a native based on the significators that we are having collectively. So we are learning today cusp slash you can say bhav significators. So, what is the basic difference between the planet significators and the cusp significator? To understand that, let's assume that we have a planet A, which is becomes the significator of cusp 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we can say this planet A in his TBA or in his Dasha Bhukti and Antara will going to give the results of these bhavas. When we say the cusp significator, so let's assume we have a fifth house and planet A, B, and C becomes the significator of the fifth house. Now it means like the planet, these planets A, B, and C will going to give the result of the fifth house. So what planets will going to give the results of the fifth house? By looking at the cusp significator, we can easily identify, okay, so these are the planets which will going to give the results for a particular bhav, in our case fifth house. So this is the basic difference between these two. So the very first rule in KP that we need to keep in our mind, and we should remind back again and again while we are doing KP, which is a planet is going to give results of its star first, then it will going to give the result of itself. So planet will going to give result of its star, then about itself. So the cusp significator can be identified by two ways. One, via the occupancy, and second, via the ownership. So via the occupancy, we can say the occupant planet in that particular bhav, and ownership means the owner planet of that bhav, the sign rising, uh, the owner of the sign rising in that particular bhav. So we know the rule that planet will going to give the result of a star first and then the self. So we have to apply this over here as well. So occupant planet will then divide into two part. The first, the star, and second is self, and the same owner planet will be divided into two part, star and then self, means it will first give the result of a star, then self, then star of self. So now we again have the four rules: 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here star and self have a different meaning than the planet significators, and what it is we will be going to see that now. So here by the occupant planet, a star means like cusp can have a multiple planets or a single planet or no planets in a cusp, or they can be a occupant of a particular cusp. So for example, let's consider this chart. In this chart you will see, let's consider the seventh house, and in seventh house you will see moon and mercury are placed in the seventh house, which means they are occupant planet of seventh house. And you will see the 11th sign is rising in the 7th house. 11th sign is Aquarius, and the lord of Aquarius is Saturn. So we can say the Saturn is the owner planet of this particular house, that is 7th house. So for 7th house, the occupant planet would be the moon and Mercury. And again, the occupant planet means the planet that are posited in that particular bhav, and owner planet would be the lord of sign which is rising in that particular house, right? So when we say the occupant is star, it means like all those planets which are in a star of the occupant planet will going to become the significator of that particular cusp first. So let's dig down all the rules one by one and understand those correctly. The first rule is all those planets which are in star of the occupant planet will become the cusp significator. And then second, the occupant itself will going to become the significator of that particular cusp. Third will be all those planets which are in a star of the owner planet will become third level significator. And the last rule would be the owner planet itself will going to become the significator of this particular cusp. So let's take the first rule, uh, the star of occupant planet. So if you will consider this chart, the below previous example that we have discussed, the moon and Mercury was the occupant planet of the seventh cusp. So we have 9 planets from Sun to Ketu. So we will see all those planets which are in either moon or the Mercury star. If there is any planet, then they will become the first level significator of that particular cusp, that is seventh at this moment. Second, we have the occupant planet itself. So moon and Mercury will become the second level significator. Third, we have which are in star of the owner planet. So if you've seen the example, the Saturn was the owner planet, and all those planets which are in Saturn's star will become the third level significator of this cusp. And at very last, the owner planet itself will going to become the significator. In our case, Saturn will going to become the significator of the seventh house at very last. Let's consider this chart and apply all the 4 rules that we have discussed just before. So this is the chart, and the right hand side we are having all the planets along with its star lot. So let's find the significator of the first house. So we know we have 4 rules: 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the first rule, 2 rules are for the occupant, and next 2 rules are for the owner planet. So if you will see the 8th house, there is no occupant in this house. So we can put dash to first to significator. So there is no planet becomes the significator at level 1 and level 2. At level 3rd, you will see the sign rising in the ascendant is Scorpio, and Lord of Scorpio is Mars. And the third rule is which are in the owner of which are in the star of the owner planet. So here owner planet is Mars. So we need to find all those planets which are in star of the Mars. So in this list you will see Mercury is in the Mars star, and then Saturn is in the Mars star. So we will at third level, Mercury and Saturn will become the significator. And fourth rule is for the owner planet itself become this significator. So Mars will going to become the significator at 4 level. So here for first, Mercury, Saturn, and Mars becomes the significator. Let's check one more example. Second house. Consider the second house. For second house, the at first level we will see the occupant, and second level both we will see the occupant. So Mercury is the occupant of the second house, and let's first check the planets which are in the Mercury star. So you will find like Moon is in the Mercury star, and then we have the only Moon is in the Mercury star. So at first level, Moon will become the significator of second house, and at level 2, Mercury itself will going to become the significator. Now at third and fourth, we need to check the owner. So owner planet. So the second house, the ninth house is rising, and the owner of the ninth house, ninth sign is Jupiter. And the first rule is for the Jupiter star. So let's check, is there any planet in Jupiter's star? So if you will see, there is no planet in Jupiter's star. So at third level we will put a dash, there is no significator, and Jupiter itself will going to become the significator at fourth level, because fourth level we know it's for the ownership. Let's take one more example. Let's take the fourth house, and you will see in the fourth house, Venus, Jupiter, and Moon are the occupant planet. And we need to first check the planets of planets in Venus, Jupiter, or Moon star. So let's check. We have Mars in the Moon star, and then there is no other planets in Moon star and no planets in Venus and Jupiter star. So Mars will become the first moon. Mars will become the first level significator, and then Venus, Jupiter, Moon will become the second level significator. The sign rising in the fourth cusp is 12th sign, which is of Jupiter sign. And we know there is no planet in Jupiter's star, so we can mark dash at third level, which is there is no significator of this cusp at third level. And Jupiter then will become the fourth level significator. And Jupiter is already like we counted at second level, so we will not going to count it again. So for fourth level, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Moon will going to become the significator. Let's now find out significator of the fifth house. So you will see fifth house, the occupant planet is Rahu, and you will see Sun is in the Rahu star, and Ketu is in the Rahu star. So at first level, Sun and Ketu will become the significator, and at second level, then Rahu will become the significator. And for third level, the sign rising on the fifth house is Aries, and Lord of which is Mars. So the and Mercury is in the Mars star, and Saturn is in the Mars star. So Mercury and Saturn will become the third level significator, and then the Mars itself become the fourth level significator for the fifth house. So this is the same chart for which we have manually calculated the cusp significator. So this is the bhav chart, and this is the Rasi chart. So if you will scroll down a bit, you will see the cusp details are there. All the cusp, one, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and over the 12th, and along with the degrees it has been given. And the sign lord, star lord, and sub lord also given for the individual cusp. And next to it, it is significators. It is already calculated for you, so you can readily use this. So you can see for the cusp of one, Mercury, Saturn, and Mars is the significator, which you might remember, like we have already calculated manually. And then Moon, Mercury, Jupiter becomes the second significator of the second house, and so on. It is calculated for all the 12th houses. And you will see, like in the software it has been mentioned like as A, B, C, and D. It is just the convention they have used as A, B, C, D, and we have take the convention as 1, 2, 3, 4. It's nothing but more or less it is same thing. One more thing you will notice over here, that the expected by column is there, and it shows the different planets which is expecting the cusp. And many people also use the significate they expect as a significator, and there is also different tools for the aspect in the KP. So for now I will not going to use the aspect as a significator, but how we can use the aspect, you will be going to see in the coming videos. So the significator that we have seen so far for planet significator or the cusp significator, we talk about the four rules. And many authors, or I have read somewhere, like they explain it as a fourfold significator. So we discuss about the planet significator. First it will going to give the result of a star, then the owner, and then we read about the cusp significator. It will first going to give the result of a star and then the planet. So this is called the fourfold significator. There is one more kind of a significator that we can identify, which is called the sixfold significator. And in sixfold significator, they include the sublord. So So for all the planets and cusp significator, so we have three rules or three subdivision. The first is sublord, second star lord, and then the planet. So for cusp significator and planet significator, we find the significator based on the star and planet in sixfold. They find the significator based on the sublot as well, and they put the sublot at strongest significator of that particular house. But the I would not going to suggest you to use the sixfold significator because it is very time sensitive. In every minute or 2 minutes sublot can change. So having the six-hole significator may gives you this the false significator, and you will end up with the falsy predictions. So if you are very assured about the time, then only you should use the six-fold significator. Otherwise you can first go with the four-fold significator. And also over the time, with the experience, you will identify that which significator is going to work for you, sixfold or the fourfold. And there are many other advanced techniques in the KP. Over the time you will going to learn those things as well. But for now, for learning purpose, I would suggest you to go with the fourfold significator. It would be more than enough, and you will get the best result out of it. So I hope that you must have understand about the concept of the cusp significator, and you must also knows about this concept of the planet significators, and you able to grasp the idea behind it, and what and how, where they can be used, how they are applicable. You will definitely going to learn it in the upcoming videos. Please like and subscribe this channel, and do post your comments in comment section, so that I would be able to know whether you are able to get the content, or you are having any kind of confusion. It will going to give me the idea about it. So having said that, have a good day. Bye.